Welcome to the Love Holistic Living podcast, your roadmap to heal and align mind, body, and soul and become intuitive through food, pleasure, and spirituality with your host and Italian friend, Sara. How to stop accepting the bare minimum. In this episode of the Love Holistic Living podcast today with your host and psychic healer, we're going to be discussing and help you shift internally on how to stop accepting the bare minimum. And as you all know, I went through all of the different journeys, whether it was like to learn self-body, love, and breaking toxic relationship cycles to healing my relationship with money. So I have done it all. And I also went through divorcing a narcissist, falling in love with a narcissist, being in a relationship with a narcissist that nearly killed me emotionally, physically, and spiritually, to divorcing and reclaiming myself. And I can tell you right now that after all of the work that I've been doing, that I want you to do, because it is possible to receive the love that you so dream and deserve. Yet you have been conditioned to think and you don't believe that love exists. But in this episode, in this video, we're going to shift all of that. And please make sure that you subscribe and leave me a comment also on what you love for us to discuss on future episodes, because your feedback is so important to us. We read all of the comments, whether it's on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, or TikTok. We read all of the comments, and the team and I then listen and provide you with what you need. Also, something so beautiful is happening in the next month. And we are building a community, an app where you can learn all of the tools that I teach to all of my private clients. You can learn at your own pace. You can be part of this exclusive community and have us in your back pocket when you need reassurance. I believe that you can have it all. You can heal your body, your mind, your soul. I am the physical, the 3D example for all of you. And I went through all of them, from physical issues to toxic relationships to being completely broke and have a successful business and bursting through all of the money blocks. So let me know what you'd like to hear in the podcast for us to talk about. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and not miss any episodes. All right, let's get started. I want to get you back with a memory of multiple times of me accepting the bare minimum. One of the now funniest moment of dating a narcissist, which it was so spot on. It was so visible. The fact that I was accepting bare minimum and yet I couldn't see it at that time. And I felt so ashamed of myself that I never quite told the story. Probably told this story to two people, two of my closest friends, because for years I felt so embarrassed for accepting the bare minimum when I should have walked away the first hour. Now, if this has ever happened to you, let me know, because so many people that date narcissists, they have this love bombing and they receive a lot of expensive gifts. That was not my journey with one of them. And here's what happened. I started dating this person. After 2 months of dating, it was my birthday and there was no presents. I was so rock bottom in accepting the bare minimum that all he was promising were empty words. And I believed all of the empty promises. I believed everything he was saying. Nothing was coming through. And at my birthday, because he was stressed out, he owned a business and he was working so hard and he didn't have the time. He looked into his bag. He was like, sorting through a bag and he found like this tongue scraper that he never used. It was like kind of like brand new, but it was in his bag. And he's like, hey, happy birthday. And he gave me this tongue scraper. And he said, well, that's your present. And I remember taking it. Like, this is the most embarrassing story I'm sharing with all of you so you can understand how low you can get. And at that time, I received it and I was like, oh my God, thank you. That was so thoughtful. And when you look at reality and stop being delusional, it's like, look, he looked through the bag and found something he didn't use, he didn't need. He didn't buy you anything new. He recycled it and gave it to you, fluff it all up, saying that he was thinking about you, and you accepted it. That for me is the definition of accepting the bare minimum. I had received no presents, and at the time, we didn't go to dinner because he owned a restaurant. He picked up the meals from the restaurants, and that's it. And I remember accepting it and still being so fully in love with all the promises, all of his mask, and again, so embarrassing. You're probably laughing right now, yet that was my story. Now, I've accepted bare minimums before. Like, for example, the last time someone bought me flour was when I was in elementary school. When I was in elementary school, everything was actually really good for me. I felt really like worshipped by all the little like cute friends, and I was kind of like the star. It was the best time because even though it was so innocent, like I did receive a lot of gifts from all of the boys, and I was the little girl that was like the most beautiful in the class, and everybody wanted it. And after that, it like tanked. Okay, like I went to middle school and high school and everything started to change, and I was like actually bullied later on, and isolated, socially awkward, and all of that stopped until I was in my 30s, until after the divorce, right? So I want you all to know that even in serious relationships, I never got to receive like the, hey, I'll pick up some flowers and I'll make you breakfast. And it was all more about like, you have to do things for me. And I literally was so delusional in believing in all of the empty words. That was my fault. That nothing in the physical came. Like there was no presents. And literally, the bare minimum was like, you tell me you love me, and you tell me that you're gonna give me this, and I believe you because one, I wanted to believe in people. I always thought that there is good in people, and I still believe that. Yet right now, I'm more anchored into reality to know that it's a choice that you do good and decide to be good. There is good in everyone, but I can tell you that if you don't choose it, you'll never change. And so what I want you all to understand is really look at your life and really look at what are you allowing to receive or for it to happen. Whether you are in a relationship or you want to manifest love and the divine life partner, you need to get clear on your standards, because until past my divorce with the narcissist, I had zero standards of how I want to be treated, how I want to be talked to, how I wanted to be worshipped or touched, and all of that. And because you have no standards, life and the universe is just going to throw you all different, like literally shit show for you to define, for you to find the clarity that you need. So if you're listening to this episode, please grab a pen and paper and take some time today or in the next few days to get clear with yourself or how you want to be treated. Like, what are you willing to tolerate and what are you willing to walk away from. Because once you step in your power and you flip the story in your head and you understand that you're valuable, your energy is valuable, that your energy is precious. It's a privilege to talk to you and anybody that you meet, you date, anybody that you, again, choose to spend time with. I want you to have that belief that your energy is so precious, and if they're not adding to your life, they don't get to stay in your life. And this is a conversation, especially if you're dating or going on dates, is you are here to be worshipped. Being a woman is absolutely so divine energy, so goddess energy. Like, you are something that a man or a woman, if you choose to be with a woman, you need to be worshipped. You need to be cared for. You need to wake up, and whether it's finding a love note or coffee beside your bed or someone who is like, what do you need, honey? That's what you deserve. Okay. And until you get clear on the treatment you want to receive, you're not going to manifest and or attract that, because you don't believe it, you don't embody it. And in order to embody it, because probably that's your question of, well, Sara, how do I embody this frequency that I don't even know if it's true? You start becoming it. You start giving those things to yourself. And that is a conversation for another episode, which, let me know if you want to hear it, is how to date yourself. Because for more than a year, I started dating myself fully. I started giving myself all the little and big things that I wanted to receive. For example, I wanted to wake up and feeling pampered, and I started hugging myself, and I started spending time to massage my body. And then I went and grabbed coffee, and I was like, this is what I deserve. And that was my ritual, to taking myself out to dinner, to buying myself the presents that I wanted for someone to buy, until I attracted that into my life. But I actually became that frequency. So I want you to give yourself a list of the 10 things or the 20 things, or the 5 things that you want to receive here that are so possible for you to experience. But you have to become that frequency. You have to embody it before it comes into your reality. Now, another thing is that for you is important in order to stop accepting the bare minimum. Again, it's 1, having the standards. 2, what are you willing to tolerate? And what are you willing to walk away from? One of the most important lesson I had to embody in order to reclaim the power is, what am I willing to do? And am I willing to walk away from this potential date, this conversation, this friendship, if I'm not being respected or cared for? I remember another time I was so in love with this person, literally I gave it my heart fully. And it turned out to be like a twin flame for me. It was a very strong connection, and one of the strongest I've ever felt in my life. And couldn't see it, because love makes you blind. And I could not see what was happening, which means that he was texting at 10 p.m. at night saying hey, I want to come and see you. I miss you. And all it was a booty call. I was at the center of his passionate dreams and desires. Now, we had a lot more in common, and I'm giving you just a glimpse of what the relationship was all about. It was very spiritual, but yet the booty call were still there. So are you willing to look at what they actually mean in those text messages? If someone only shows up at night, that's a booty call. They do not respect and or give any importance to your energy. If you have kids, and I have kids, and they're not willing to be interested, they're not even asking you about how you are as a mom or how you are as, a parent and a businesswoman or a working woman, And I realized that after I kept dating people that did not give literally a shit about my mom life, which takes up the 50% of my time, and that was the bare minimum that I was willing to settle for until I flipped the story, right? Another thing is, if they take up time, are those conversations giving you something? Are they adding to your life? I started flipping the story and be like, what do you have to add onto my life? Are you making my life easier? Are they making your life a better place? Or are they taking from you? And really pay attention to how you feel. If you feel confused after an hour of conversation with them or lunchtime and they confuse you, you get home and you're like, I don't even know if we're here or there. They said this, but if you start questioning, if you start screenshotting all of the text messages and ask your friend for clarification and needing to decode what they say, that's a no. If you're a maybe, that's a no. And I promise you that you will find that person that sees and values you and will make it clear that they want to be in your energy. Another time that was a bare minimum for me is there was this person that was kind of interested in me, but wasn't super clear or super invested. And we jumped on a call, and then he said, well, yeah, let's, I had so much fun. I'm interested. Let's do this again. And he never contacted me ever again. I mean, that's a clear no. You're a maybe. And so are you willing to look at how they really treat you? Obviously, it's reality and it's normal that they're really busy with work. I am busy too. So I tell people do not pretend that I text you every single minute or respond to you within even 3 hours. If I have 5 hours of clients back to back, I will get back to you within 24 hours. I'm not a clingy person and I do not tolerate clingy people. But I would say you understand when someone is ghosting you, after 3 days they respond, right? Or another example was when I remember going out to dinner with this person and he had forgotten or lost his wallet and I had to pay. And he's like, I'll Venmo you after. And I was like, I remember that at the time I paid. I didn't ask for the money back and I still went out with this person for months until now looking back and then when I made the decision and I said no more of this, and that happened again one time and I was like, we're done. I'm not willing to accept that anymore. I don't have a problem paying or sharing the dinner. I just don't want to be treated that way. So again, what are your standards and are you willing to walk away and say, you know what, you're wasting my time. I don't really feel it. You're being disrespectful. It's all about you. And I'm if you start understanding that and be I'm willing to walk away from this person, they're going to feel that. You become super magnetic. Okay. And also I don't want to have to ask a lot of questions all the time and keep the conversation. If you're interested, you're going to ask questions about me. So if you can get and embodying that version of you that doesn't settle for the bare minimum, and you write down these standards that you have, then you write down how this version of you is going to act, and you uphold that commitment, which means you're willing to let people go. You have to be willing to do that though. It's also energetically, and you're always communicating with the universe. I promise you that the person that buys you flour, buys you coffee, writes you love notes, and does the little and big things for you, takes you out, on weekends or dinners, and cherishes you, worships you, will show up. But you cannot have that unless you embody that frequency. So if, someone just wants to, for example, have intimacy with you within the first 24 hours you guys meet, and maybe that is okay with you because you're not looking for a relationship. But when I was clear about I want a relationship, I was like, you're not going to get to touch my mind, body, and soul because I'm looking for that person that is going to respect me, right? So respect is a value that I uphold. And it's like, if you're not willing to not touch me when I say, don't touch me, right? And you still try, you've got to go. And believe me when I tell you, I wasn't this person. And in order to keep people, because I was afraid of rejection, I had given, I was the woman and the girl that would get out and have sex on the first date all the time, until I flipped the story after all of what I went through and decided that this is how I was going to get treated. And I wasn't afraid to say no. I wasn't afraid to lose people. But that's what's going to put you into a magnetism. You become magnetic, and you also reclaim your power back. And the right person will see the value and will know not to cross those boundaries, because they will feel it, and they're going to know that if they mess up, you're gone. And that is so hot and magnetic. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful. What are your standards? What are you claiming? And who do you decide to be and choose to act upon that frequency? Let me know in the comments. So much love to all of you, and I'll see you in the next episodes.